All right, another video. Who's your daddy? An RNA replicator. In other words, something that could replicate RNA. And RNA is supposed to be your daddy. Well, we'll see. And in the last part, this is a two-part of RNA replication because I had so much material. We talked about the foremost reaction. And the atheist evolutionist materialists, they love autocatalytic. Autocatalytic. They scream autocatalytic. I mean, it's their savior of some sorts. But anyway, we looked at the foremost reaction. Let's see, the most famous autocatalytic reaction there is on the planet. And what did it produce? Billions of products. Okay. And again, the supposed quote here from the atheist was, will it produce other things? Possibly. Yeah, right. Well, I'm going to continue on. And again, we looked at the foremost reaction. And again, in that one, it was, quote, too complex to interrogate, which just means they couldn't fish it out. Even after doing the reaction, they couldn't fish out all the chemical reaction that they needed. No way. And they expect Mother Nature. The early Earth is supposed to be able to do what they can't do. Nonsense. Anyway. Well, in this video, we're going to talk about RNA, actual synthesis of RNA from another origin of life scientist called Steve Banner.
So here's what RNA looks like. And so it's hooked up from this 5' site to what's called the 3' site. Now what can happen is this can hit here and break, and that's why when you buy it, it is stabilized with buffers that would grab any free magnesium that's in there. Any divalent cation can really destroy these things. And it recommends keeping it at minus 80 degrees centigrade. That's minus 112 degrees Fahrenheit. When you buy RNA, they recommend you store it at minus 80 degrees centigrade. Why? Because it's unstable. If it's in a normal environment, say on planet Earth, where the crust of the Earth is 2.5% magnesium, these things don't stay around long. So here's the 5', 3' type attachment. 3' going to 5' going to 3'. Now, you can also have the attachment, the 5' going to the 2' hydroxyl. So rather than this oxygen, it's this oxygen being linked. That's the 2'. This doesn't work. When you have the 2' linkage, it doesn't work. If you have the wrong enantiomer, it doesn't work. If you have the wrong enantiomers here, it doesn't work. If you have a different diastereomer, it doesn't work. If you have the wrong linkage, it doesn't work. Where does he get this? Did he make these? No. You look in the supplemental. Now, this is a very interesting supplemental. You go to this supplemental and it says the ribonucleotide trisephosphates were obtained from New England Biolabs or Sigma Aldrich. So in other words, none of what they made, none of the ribose that they made, none of the coupling chemistry that was described by Krishnamurti, none of the amidotriphosphate that they use in their paper, that they say can be used in their paper, which they never used, was used. They bought pristine triphosphate of ribose. This is what I'm saying. It's relay all the way. Every step is relay because what I made before that is junk. What I made before that is junk. What I made before that is junk. So I'm just going to buy this. How would early Earth deal with that junk? Not my problem. That's early Earth's problem, not my problem. This is just a bunch of nonsense. How can you say that you don't need pure starting material?
She does not need either pure starting materials.
You bought absolutely pure starting material here. Here's something else from this same experimental. You say before every experiment, glass powders, so this is your little borax glass. Glass powders were treated for 20 minutes with 3% hydrogen peroxide. Wow, you're really cleaning up this surface. 3% hydrogen peroxide. You're washing with for 20 minutes, followed by 10 washes with ultra-pure RNase-free water. Now, I can see why we want to keep enzymes, RNases, out of this, because you want to make RNA. But now you're using ultra-pure water. Where would that come from on early Earth? Where would this ultra-pure water come from to get off all free ions of any other metal 2 salt that might be there? Because if you have metal 2 salts, your RNA is just going to fall right apart. I'm glad you're hands-off, your minimal human involvement system. Yeah, this is minimal human involvement.
She does not need either pure starting materials or constant human intervention to get these things.
We can't exclude branching. He himself highlighted it. You can't exclude branching. They have branching going on here, and they show that. Well, RNA is known with magnesium that it will cleave much more divalent magnesium, or raising the temperature accelerates the strand scission. Remember, they like these hot, cold cycles, wet, dry cycles? That would destroy this. Remember Cronin's wet, dry cycles that are purely acceptable to him of 130 degrees centigrade? This thing's toast. This RNA is gone. When they don't want hot, cold cycles, the Earth is perfectly room temperature, 23 degrees centigrade, 25 degrees centigrade, pH 7.5, just pristine, no free ions around, because we know this stuff decomposes. And so here is from Benner's own paper. He's showing that you can get these branching occurs. He shows that you get these wrong attachments can occur. And then you get something that's not useful anyway. This is surely how life did not form.
Now at this point, you should stop and take a deep breath and ask yourself what you just witnessed, because there's a lot of stuff in there that I'm not going to cover most of it. I'm just going to talk about the most salient problem that I've been talking about, is what they call relay synthesis. Well, what's relay synthesis? Well, you do a chemical reaction. What do you get? Well, you get a whole lot more than just the chemical that you need. Okay? You get a whole lot more. You get a mess, just like we saw with Lee Cronin. And even a master class chemist can't fish that out. So what do? Well, I look at my little graph. I can see my little chemicals there on the graph. Yeah, it's intermixed between billions of other compounds. So what do? Well, I'm just going to cheat and buy the next step. And then when I do that chemical reaction, what do I get? Well, I get billions of compounds, and I can't fish it out. So what do? Well, I can see it on the screen. So I buy the next one, and the next one, and the next one. That's called cheating. And excuse me, but how did Mother Nature and the early Earth cheat? All right. So now here's another video, some more scientific proof, and both Steve Banner and Lee Cronin will be discussed.
Here's what a spectrum of D-ribose should look like. I just got this from the internet. Now, D-ribose can have an open form, it can have a closed form, it can have a 6-member ring or a 5-member ring, depending on what say. And that's why you have a few little extra peaks here, but this is about what it should look like. Now, I'm going to show you from Benner and Kim's own paper what their D-ribose look like. Here's what it should look like. Here's what Benner publishes. C13 spectra showing the formation of ribose borate from glycoaldehyde in C13 formaldehyde in the presence of borate. This is his mineral-guided prebiotic synthesis. This is what he gets. This is not noise. This is what noise looks like down here. This is not noise. Every one of these little peaks is another compound. Every one of them. It's just like your expert Lee Cronin said. Within seconds, you get billions of products. Remember you said seconds to an hour, you get
billions of products, literally within a few seconds or hours.
And one of these is ribose. One of these in here is ribose. This is utter junk. And he claims he got it, and I claim it's probably in there. But you've got so many other things. You've got the enantiomer of that, you've got all the diastereomers, you've got the larger ones, the smaller ones, the solids that are precipitated out. You've got so much junk in there. It's just like Benner had said earlier. He said making molecules is
one goddamn problem after another in that side of it.
And you say, well, why don't you just run it longer? Dave would say, just run it longer and your autocatalytic cycles would kick in, and this would just get purified, and this would go to the one that life needs.
At the end of many cycles, all the useless impurities that are not reproducing will have purged themselves spontaneously.
In this case, it needs ribose, so it's going to go to ribose. In another case, it needs another sugar. And so it's going to go to glucose in another reaction, because it knows it needs that. So it's just going to go toward that, and everything else will go away. And the other enantiomer problem of that, the L-ribose, that's no problem. That would also sift out as well. This is why I say, Dave, that what he's doing is irrelevant. This is absolutely irrelevant. Remember I said that they get a gazillion products. I just listed 6. No, I'm talking about 1 billion. And they see a little indication that it might be in there. And then what does he do? He goes on to the next step. Well, where did he get the ribose for his next step? Did he get it from here? No, it's impossible. Today, it is impossible with all our analytical techniques to fish that thing out. And somehow an early Earth did that. In one of your little ponds next to the ocean, it was able to sift that.
So wait a minute. What happened to the prebiotic chemistry on the early Earth to get an RNA molecule? Oh, that's not my problem. That's early Earth's problem. All I need to do is ramp up my claims with the press and my students, and I can report success in the abstract and the title, and then I can bury the details in my supplemental and call it a day. Because no one will read the paper anyway. They'll read the title, like Professor Dave does, and they just see, that's what the title says. In fact, I'll give the press and even my students the impression we're so close, and then students like the ones I'm debating will then claim, oh, RNA can catalyze its own replication. It means, man, we're really down to asking this is specific path it took. Wow, we're so close. And so when the public's perceptions are wrong, and they are wrong, I can simply turn a blind eye. It doesn't matter. Just like in this video with Lee Cronin. Watch this.
So why has no one made real life from scratch? All the people that have made life in the lab have cheated. They have taken existing building blocks, and those building blocks were produced by evolution. And that evolutionary process goes back to one genesis point.
You just said that all the people that have made life in the lab have cheated. Tell me, Lee, give me an example. Show me that reference where someone made life in a lab. Nobody has ever made life in a lab. And you guys keep putting this out there, and that's why the world is so confused.
Researchers have now created life from non-living parts.
This one's on you, Lee. This one is on you. You start saying people have made life in the lab, and you don't like the way they've done it because they've done it with organic molecules that are already existing. Nobody has ever made life in the lab. Show me that reference. You can come on my channel and show me. Go on Dave's channel and show me. No one has made life. You said all the people that have made life in the lab have cheated. There was a survey taken. Under simulations of early Earth's atmosphere, scientists have mixed molecules together in laboratories to produce complex life forms such as frogs. 2/3 of the population believes that that is false. 1/3 believes it's true. Under simulations of early Earth's atmosphere, scientists have mixed molecules together in laboratories to produce simple, single-celled life forms such as bacteria. 2/3 of the population believes that that is true. 2/3 of the people. Where might they have gotten that? Tell me how those small molecules got to be big molecules that had the right symmetry, the right properties, the right elements to them that then formed, and how did they polymerize, and then how did that form life? Tell me. You don't know. So say it with me. You don't know. You're the one that's confused these people. Who are these people? Well, the average age is 38. Their sex was half male, half female. And how educated were they? Well, 80% of them hold college degrees. 80% of them.
They made life in the lab. They made life in the lab. They made life in the lab. Oh, I heard it on TV. They sure did. They made life in the lab. And now, if you're a college educated, well, and you are more likely to believe that. Isn't that weird? In other words, non-college educated people are actually smarter than the college educated people. That's funny, according to the study. Wow. But if they make the claim enough, and they do, and they ramp it up with the press, and then the press ramps it up, and the students ramp it up, everybody's ramping it up, they even get to the point where they believe they've made frogs in the lab. My question is, how much evidence do you need to change your mind, actually? A lab designed and created, and this is in the other video I did, we're talking about an RNA polymerase that Gerald Joyce created. But it can't even copy one enzyme. I mean, we're not even to one enzyme yet. That's what's amazing to me. So why is such outlandish claims actually tolerated in origin of life? Who knows? Even with master class chemistry, not available on early Earth, a master class chemistry designed RNA cannot copy even one enzyme. Natural RNA, on the other hand, I have a study, shows that it lasts for about 2 minutes. I don't care if it's not just 2 minutes. That's just what the study said. I didn't make it up. If it's 48 hours, who cares? It cannot last. You need to store it at 80 degrees below 0 Celsius. Yeah, sure, right. So all of the chemistry so far, it has nothing to do with early Earth conditions. Not a bit. And even that, even having one molecule, and a very unstable one with that, It's not going to hang around in a pond for millions of years for the rest of the bits and pieces of the cell to get built. It's not. And you have random processes trying to do that. That's ludicrous. And the probability of success is staggering when at each step in the millions of years process, crap chemicals, I hope you like my analogy. That's my technical term. Crap chemicals are astronomically, astoundingly more likely than the specific path you need. And those crap chemicals will kill abiogenesis at each step. You have so many competing chemicals at each step, and you're getting billions of products. Not just, oh, it's possible. Each step from nothing to RNA, then each step from RNA to the first living cell would constitute a miracle. And you go, wait a minute, I thought atheists, evolutionists, materialists don't believe in miracles. But now they believe that brain-dead Mother Nature can pick out just the one right chemical it needs for the next step, when that one chemical has to compete with up to billions of other possible chemical reactions at each step in this pseudo-evolutionary process. It's all hogwash, and it's getting worse by the day. It has never been a better time in science to believe in Jesus and study science, like abiogenesis. Apparently a fairy tale for college-educated grown-ups. Now that's funny. Have a blessed day.